potential action right here in the charts right here. Okay. Hope we're doing good. Are we live? Are we live? Everything good? Amazing, family. Let me open the chat as well here. Let's make sure that we see who we have in the building here. Just give me a little hint at this particular moment. There we go. I see Santiago, my man. Santiago Vega. What's happening? Right with Dom. Stove. Shout out to Stove. Shout out to Rafal. Ivy. Thomas. Yes, sir. Amazing, guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Chrono. Maria. Maria Gonzalez. Beautiful. Okay, fam. Just to prove you this is actually a live show. All right. So let's dive into the news here. Very important stuff. We have a lot of things coming. My hand is still fractured, so I might be a little bit of a... you know what I'm talking about here. Okay, number one. Core durable goods orders are tomorrow. Initial jobless claims tomorrow. But today we have an FOMC meeting report coming out here, okay? This is super important. It's a reflection of the actual meeting that we had 3 weeks ago right here. That we're going to have in 3 weeks from now. All right, so very importantly, we're going to find out today a lot about a potential scenario, potential outcome. Is there a chance of one more rate hike till the end of the year? That's what we're going to find out potentially today here. Combine that, guys, and this is important to mention here, with the Fed rate monitor tool, okay? I put a link here in my YouTube description for you guys, for you that are new to all that fundamentals and stuff here. This tool is extremely, or has been extremely accurate over this last year, okay? You could see the probability of a potential increase or decrease in rate hike here, okay? 3 weeks, 1 day out for the final interest rate decision of the year here. Do take consideration that after today's news, this could completely change, okay? So what I want you to do is to watch it, see the outcome today. We will be sleeping here already, but you're gonna find out if this is gonna change here. So look at the Fed rate monitor tool, could be an effect here. If we indeed decide to increase here or something is happening, markets are maybe a little bit too bullish due to the fact that if you guys look here closely, the GDP came out at 4.9% in October here, a massive increase in that. The CPI came out lower as well, so the inflation is actually coming down. So things are actually looking very good. The question is though, does the Fed like that? And the reason why I'm saying that is here is because if you go to the 10-year yields, we topped out at 5% and we're now pulling back, okay? This is the daily chart here. You can see it clearly that we're now looking potentially at a very nice clean area of support. So I actually wanted to see the treasuries coming down a little bit here. And the reason why is because if we pull back towards that level at 4.361% here, and by default, right, we're seeing the news coming out right now, timing could be more perfect. I do believe that there is a chance that we could see a bounce from here potentially. What kind of impact this is going to have on gold, on the other potential setups in the market here, such as the NASDAQ. Let's dive into that as well here. So very importantly, okay, number one, before we continue with the NASDAQ here, we have gold, NASDAQ, a lot of things are coming as well, but the dollar right now is actually not looking that good, okay? So yesterday we were talking about that weekly zone, that weekly Fibonacci level here at 50%. We eventually went through it, okay? Now I'm trying to zoom in to get a little bit of a better perspective. And what I'm currently seeing right now is the fact that if you look here, right at that low, at around 103.267, okay? We are now finally back down here. We are seeing a potential important low that we need to break, or we need to hold above, okay? So it's truly a maker or breaker moment for the dollar. Obviously, we know that there is news coming along here, so this could be the climax that we're looking for today, a potential daily closure above or below this particular low, okay? We're talking about the 8-hour chart. Keep a very close eye on it. Be aware, even if you're a day trader or whatever, be aware of the fact that we're currently in discounted territory on the weekly time frame. Combine that with this low. This low created a strong expansion to the upside. So it is a very important low to take in consideration right here, okay? We are there right now. We have some support. And the reason why I like this one a lot right now is also because the euro US dollar setup we talked about yesterday. But we're getting there in in a second. Now, let's talk about the NASDAQ, okay? Because we were talking about the NASDAQ like two scenarios, okay? I'm not a magician. I'm not here to predict the outcome of every single trade with 100% accuracy. What I like to do, though, is to place my bets based upon what happens. So I wait for certain things to occur. I wait for price to pull back to certain points of interest. And from there on, I'm trying to see if it makes sense and if my risk, you know, can benefit me or with more reward, right? That's what I'm looking for. So if my risk is worth the reward here. So in this case, what we did, we broke out, and there were two reasons for this, okay? Number one, the volatility index. We talked about this yesterday as well. We said that we still are compressing. We're still are creating that trend line to the downside right here. We're still building, compressing, and it seems that we're looking at a potential breakout in the very, very, very short term here. So when you see this happening, price is still moving down and price was still moving that gap here. What is important to mention here, fam, and this is super important for the NASDAQ right now, is the fact that when you see this last couple of candles right here, okay, this is on the 4-hour chart, you see this one right now happening, okay, and you see this one pulling up. The NASDAQ is, because of that reason, on the 4-hour right now, as you can see, pulling down, okay? So the negative correlation is there. So far, so good. So if we are going to see a breakout for the volatility index here, and we are actually going to move further to the upside right now, which is still a potential scenario, like I said yesterday, I was waiting for this one right here. I was waiting for a pullback. So coming down, waiting for a pullback, and then an expansion to the upside, okay? The question is, though, with the news coming, is that pullback going to come? Are we going to shoot down still potentially and shooting up from there? That's going to be the question, okay? But how does this affect the NASDAQ? Well, let's go a little bit back into the chart. Very importantly, that breakout to the upside has been completed. Yesterday we said that if we do break up to the upside and we start to show weakness right here, this is where I want to go and build up my short position from more of a swing trade perspective, due to the fact that usually during this type of news right now, with the treasuries being in that massive support, I do think that there is a potential scenario where there is a chance of us potentially pulling back a little bit, okay? So I think it's important to mention that when that happens, then this could be an interesting level to start building up my short positions right here, slowly but steadily, not putting all my eggs in one basket here. Another chart to look at right here is the 1-hour chart, okay? And look at what we have been building on the 1 hour. Very clean, upsloping channel right here, multiple touch points, as clean as it can get, okay? But the reason why I'm extremely careful with longs right now, even though we might be holding support here at this particular high, so there is a chance, okay, one more time, we have this particular high, okay, we are now back at that particular range, we are potentially back and holding in that parallel channel to look for further continuation to fill up that weekly gap. The reason why I'm not interested in a particular long setup right now is, one more time, because of the volatility index, okay? I've seen these patterns happening a lot over time, and the reason why I'm very careful right now is because when we're seeing this occurring, okay, when we're building and compressing, when we're breaking out to the upside, the NASDAQ is potentially gonna tank here, okay? So I'm trying to avoid a potential scenario where the volatility index goes up and therefore the NASDAQ comes down here and takes out all that sell-side liquidity that is built up below here. So I'm rather looking for shorts now at this particular moment than looking for longs, okay? So that does not mean that a parallel channel simply means buy here, sell here, and so on and so on. But it gives you at least a little bit more perspective, okay? Hope that makes sense in that manner. All right, now let's go back to the dollar here. We just talked about this here, that 8-hour chart. Now, what we talked about yesterday, guys, was the following, okay? We talked about the euro against the US dollar, okay? And we said on the weekly time frame, as we're on the daily time frame, we are now pulling back. We hovered around the 50%. So the moment we came up to the 50%, to the equilibrium right here, everything was completely fine, perfect. However, the most confluences came together, or will come together, at the 618 Fibonacci right here, okay? The 618 is right at that level. And this is where we are today, okay? And we're reacting from it. So one more time, let's zoom in here for the euro right now. First touch point, absolutely amazing. This is what I like to see, okay? Number one, double top confirmation. So this is very important to mention. Double top confirmation here for the Euro USD. Absolutely beautiful. This is what I'm looking for. We pull back up, parallel channel, Fibonacci, value area low of a range. I can give you a bunch of more confluences coming together right here at that level. The 109.6, okay? Beautiful reaction so far. That's what I want to see. So what needs to happen now? Well, number one, two scenarios, okay? Dollar needs to flip, bullish. Close a 4-hour bullish candle above that level, showing us that there is some support here, which then will not help us with the Euro USD, or will help us with the Euro USD short, but not with the Euro in that sense, okay? Very important to mention that if you look here at both highs right now, and we start flipping this particular candle, so this one could potentially turn and flip, I think that could be also an amazing entry for you, right here, right there, okay? So I'm talking about a flip potentially happening, and I need to highlight this, guys. Give me 1 second here. A little bit higher, 109.434 on the 4-hour, flip bearish, potentially looking for further continuation back to the downside right here, okay? That could be one entry. Another entry is completely up to you here, where you zoom in, you go to the lower time frame, you wait for structure to be broken, and you look for a potential, lower low, lower high, and then an entry right here if you are a supply and demand trader or whatsoever in that manner, okay? Hope that makes sense. Definitely something I'm interested in. So far, no confirmation yet, but we're heading into the right direction, guys. And this is what I like to see here for the Euro against USD. But do take consideration when there is a news day, especially FOMC or FOMC related, anything can happen, okay? Overall, absolutely beautiful. Now, also what's important to mention here is that we only looked at the dollar index and the Euro USD. But what about the Euro? What's happening with the Euro index right now? We talked about the weekly resistance. We're not looking that strong at this particular moment, okay? So what I'm currently seeing here is the fact that we are now building, and we're facing some difficulties up there, okay? And we're talking about the 1057 all the way up to the 1055 here. If we're going to see this happening, guys, okay? So number one, we have this low. We found some support here. There we go. We are pulling back, pulling up, pulling back. I think there is a big chance the Euro will start pulling back a little bit back towards the 1045, okay? So 1045, 1040, somewhat between that level. That's the entry level of this particular range that we've seen here. If we get that confirmation, we pull back and we look for further continuation down, take out these lows as well. I think that the Euro is looking a little bit weaker, okay? So combine dollar being in support, treasuries being support, Euro looking a little bit weaker, Euro USD, hope that makes sense, okay? Now, another one that we always have to talk about, obviously, is gold. And gold is holding up quite strong. Not gonna lie, gold is holding up quite strong right now at this particular moment here. We are gonna face still a major resistance at the 2005. We talked about this one before here. We are also now back at the value area high. I think I moved this one a little bit by accident here. But what's important to mention is that we are actually breaking it right now, okay? So that means that the treasuries probably are still coming, pushing us down a little bit, as well as the dollar. You can see that the dollar is now pushing us down a little bit further still. So there is definitely no confirmation from that end here. But it's all about the dollar breaking below that low here. That could help us also with our gold potential scenario here. So when we're zooming out, okay, for gold right now on the daily time frame, we are looking quite strong, guys. Okay, I think they're based upon what happened yesterday here. We said yesterday, if we do not break that low, the previous low here, we might be pulling up stronger, okay? But the first major resistance will still be at around the 2005, which is gonna be the previous high. So just to talk about my point of interest right now, the only thing that I'm interested in right here is waiting for that to happen, okay? What is important to mention though, and this is always something that I highlight for you guys here with gold, is the fact that we do not have a we do not have a bottom wick here, and we do have this expansion as well here, okay? So we saw that massive expansion wick here, we saw that pull up here. So the moment we closed the daily candle yesterday, we immediately shoot up without creating a single bottom wick. You guys know it. On the live streams before, we have been seeing these flippings on the daily happening over and over and over again, especially one more time news related. So I would not be surprised if we also turn around here. So with gold, I'm for this moment, I'm quite neutral. But what's important to mention is If I'm going to look for a short entry, it's going to be up here, or we're going to see some internal structure confirmation from the dollar, potentially leading into that flippening for gold. If that flippening happens, there could be also more downside potential as well here. So somewhat in here, I feel that we're in a no trading range right now. If we're coming up higher, then I'm getting interested. Or if we actually flip that candle bearish, okay? Hope that makes sense for gold. Now let's dive into oil. I mean, that's my baby right here, okay? That's my baby right there. We talked about oil on the daily time frame here last week. We said oil, $74 a barrel, okay? $74 a barrel, coming back into that range. We see that expansion pullback. The overall trend, horizontal support, everything was coming together. We saw an aggressive selling also leading into that price action right here. Very aggressive selling. Make me only more bullish for oil right here. So we said, I'm going to buy a bunch of oil at $74 a barrel. Fantastic. We are now at $77.7, okay? So things are looking extremely good here. Now, the question is, very importantly, what is next, okay? What is next? So look at this right here, guys. We have been breaking out overall the trend line. We're now retesting, as you guys can see, that overall trend. But that's not the only confluence I'm going to look for to place an actual trade here. Just the trend line is not going to help me with making my decision. What is important to mention, though, is the following, okay? And if you go here to the 1 hour, it will make a little bit more sense here. Okay, I expected, and I'm actually quite surprised overall, I have to say here, that we actually broke through this particular high right here at around $77.5. And the reason why is because we claimed back that territory coming back into that previous range here. So we had that range, we had that expansion, aggressive selling, immediate recovery. That's that V-shaped recovery. This is a very bullish signal for oil. Very bullish signal for oil. So I'm grabbing my hands here. I'm looking for a pullback. And I'm going to aggressive try to scale up my position for oil here. So the first thing that I see personally is one more expansion to the downside right now. And that is on the 2 hour chart, on the 1 hour chart right here. Coming back into this particular low, which is going to be practically at the $77, okay? My first entry is 74. Second one, 77, creating an average order entry, putting my stop loss on break even, trying to scale it up, okay? For people that are missing or that actually missed out on this particular trade here, I still think this is reasonable due to the fact that there are a lot of different confluences also in that sense coming together, okay? We're talking about horizontal support number 1, area of demand number 2, trend line support number 3. So you have a lot of guys that are trading different types of strategies coming together here, looking for that same exact level at $77 here. I expect some serious support. I do think we can go up here for oil. Like I said before, I think we could come back again towards that upper range here for oil in the very short term. I'm very bullish on it. So let's see how this develops here. Congratulations if you took this trade right there last week, especially on a Friday. Crazy run here. But we're not too late yet, okay? On the higher time frame, we're still all the way down here. We're creating a W formation right now. I do believe that there is still a slight move to the upside possible, which is still very decent, okay? Take your time, but I like it a lot. I like it a lot. Beautiful. Now let's dive into the yen basket. Okay, yen basket, we had that amazing trade last week for the euro against the Japanese yen. We came up here. Like we said before, that's just pure pattern recognition. So if you are a trader, what you want to do is you want to spend a lot of time on the charts. And it doesn't always have to be trading, but it just have to be being aware of what you're doing on a day-to-day basis here, okay? What I realized was that I started to recognize similar patterns in the market right here, and especially with the Japanese yen basket. I've seen this particular index here, moving in a certain way, and the moment we start to push up, we push up extremely aggressively. And this is what we did here. We shorted the euro against the Japanese yen, was a perfect entry. We never came into drawdown from the moment we entered. However, that does not mean, like I said before, guys, that we're right now suddenly extremely bullish here, okay? Based upon all the fundamentals, based upon the higher time frame, based upon everything that we're currently seeing, we are right now already getting rejected here on the daily time frame. So look at this right here, okay? Consolidation right here. We have that range, we have that expansion, we are now pulling up in towards the value area low, okay? A lot of data goes into this particular daily chart right here. We're talking about, 23rd of June all the way until the 31st of October, okay? So that's like 4 months right here of data compressed, giving us a lot of information in regards to potential orders placed in regards to liquidity and all that stuff right here. So pulling back right now to the value area low and reacting from it is, in my opinion, a very, very good sign here. So what does it mean? Well, number one, go to the 30-minute time frame. That's what you want to do first, okay? You are now at these highs here. What was the last low? What was the last high? Okay, let's write it down. This was the last low. Boom. This was the last high. What we need to do is we need to break that low, pull back, and continue its momentum to the downside here for a further confirmation. Or if you want to be extremely sure, wait for price to pull back and break this particular low right here, okay? If that happens, okay, you need to look immediately at all the other currencies, okay? And what you want to do is you want to start looking at which currency against the yen is performing the best. Is that the euro? Is it the British pound? Is it the Australian dollar, okay? For that particular reason, I came to my conclusion right now at this particular moment, guys, with the Australian dollar, okay? And that's the reason why we're looking at expansion here. And this is also, again, one more time, and this is important to mention, this is on the 4-hour chart, okay? So number one, we had that expansion, same thing, same scenario here for the Australian dollar against the Japanese yen. We had a beautiful 4-hour range, we had an expansion, we're pulling back while building buy-side liquidity to the upside right now, pulling back in towards that low at 96.755, which is called the point of control. Okay, the point of control where the most volume has been traded on that level. And look what aligns very, very beautifully, a very clean area of demand here. Really interesting level to look at, okay? This is where I'm interested in potentially looking for long setups. If we potentially get that confirmation from the yen basket, we have exactly what we need. And that is a high probability setup here for the Australian dollar against the yen here. So very, very good stuff right now. Absolutely loving it. One more time, if you zoom here on the 30-minute, look at all that bicep that we're building right now, the beautiful trend line here, and look at also at the same time how we are compressing, okay? So these highs are lower, but these lows are now contracting right here, compressing, showing us potentially that we're looking and coming into a potential breakout for the Australian dollar against the Japanese yen very, very soon. So I'm looking at this, either one more pullback to the downside to finish it off here, one pullback to the downside, coming down, potentially shooting up, okay? Then that last idea will be, if you want to go for a higher, a preciser entry on the lower time frame, when you're a supply and demand trader whatsoever, you wait for that last pullback, you wait for the expansion. This is where you're going to look for these entries right here. Hope that makes sense. Could be an amazing, amazing setup if we get that confirmation. Flawless, flawless setup right there. Okay? Okay, guys. Final one. We don't have to have that much time right here. Yeah, Bitcoin. Okay? Like I said before, what I wanted you to do here, and yesterday we had some problems with the sound, so I'm going to repeat it one more time. Okay? One more time. I want you to really get this. And the reason why is because I know how much this is going to help you over time with trading Bitcoin, okay? Like we talked before, we have a volatility index for the NASDAQ, for the Dow Jones, for the S&P 500, okay? We have the Bitcoin volatility index, okay? The Bitcoin historical volatility index on the 4-hour or whatever, on BitMEX, sorry. It's called the BVOL 24-hour, okay? This chart literally shows you when Bitcoin is gonna break out. Literally, okay? We have been backtesting it now for a very long period of time. It is working, okay? So what I want you to do to see it with your own eyes is number one, I want you to put this one on your watch list, the BVOL 24-hour. I want you to go to the 4-hour chart. I want you to highlight these two highs right here, okay? If you're interested in trading crypto, this is going to help you tremendously. So 2.96, 3.55, okay? Set 2 alerts. So 1 alert here, 1 alert there. When this breaks, all right? When this breaks, Bitcoin is gonna make that move, okay? You see it already, we're starting to compress, it is time, we're heading in towards a climax here for Bitcoin. We're talking about the expansion. By default, it's very interesting that we actually have very important news coming along here as well, but we don't know yet, okay? We do know, however, that when we break this high, we could see a potential massive reaction here for Bitcoin, okay? So overall, guys, take a very close look here. I still believe we're gonna push up towards the 38.5 and flip. That's my prognosis for now, at least, okay? Pulling up, liquidating, flipping, turning out, and taking all that sell side liquidity that we have been building here, pulling back towards the $33,000. From there on, see where we're at. But I do believe a pullback is healthy, is necessary, and is the likely scenario. If we pull up here, how many times with Bitcoin have we seen a fake out, okay? So we're trying to catch that fake out as a trade here in order for us to get the perfect entry to take that trade further to the downside here. All right, guys? So I hope you guys liked the setup today here. Again, we have a crypto VIP community. We also have an amazing V3 trading floor. We're gonna head there in a second here. I'm very curious to see what will happen with the news coming along. We have all these voice channels. We're streaming in there on a day-to-day basis. The V3 is currently closed for new members. We are gonna open though very soon. Some more information will follow. I wanna wish you all the best here, guys. One more time, let me see what we have in the chat here. 500 people watching. Absolutely amazing. Matty, my man. Big shout out to you, Matty. Gold, please. Yes, go a little bit back into the chart. The Cowboy says Bevel is amazing when you understand it. There we go. There we go. Paolo. Okay, guys. Get ready for some amazing setups. Euro USD, Australian dollar against yen. A couple of them are playing out very, very soon. And I'll see you back tomorrow with new, fresh trades. Okay? Peace out, fam. Love you guys. See you soon. Bye.